Hello students, welcome to all these scholar classes. So today I will be taking the part 9 of chapter 13 from class 9 science, that is why do we call it. Okay, so if you will go in part 8 of my video, you will see that I have discussed about the diseases that are being caused by different bacteria. Okay, bacterial disease we have seen, where the mode of transmission is what? It's a bacteria. Today what we are going to discuss is that protozoan disease. We will discuss firstly protozoan disease means the mode of disease is being transmitted by what? Protozoans. Okay. So malaria is there and kala azar, brain fever it is also called. So we will discuss that. Then we will see the viral disease which occurs because of virus. Okay. So dengue, swine flu, bird flu, Ebola, hepatitis, rabies virus and influenza. So these are all the things which we are going to discuss. Firstly we will start with malaria. Okay. So in malaria is caused by female mosquito, female anopheles. Okay. So please remember that mode of transmission is the bite of female anopheles mosquito. Don't forget that it is female anopheles. Male anopheles is not going to infect. Only the bite of female anopheles mosquito. Okay, so in malaria, mode of transmission is female Anopheles mosquito. Fine. Female Anopheles mosquito is there, and the causative organism is a plasmodium. So these plasmodium are being carried by this female Anopheles. Okay. So causative organism is plasmodium. Okay, so which is causing this disease is what? It's a plasmodium. So it's basically a protozoan disease. Okay, so these infected mosquitoes means these infected female Anopheles mosquito, they carry the plasmodium parasite. Okay, they carry the plasmodium parasite. Infected female Anopheles mosquito carries the plasmodium parasite. Okay, so the mode of transmission is female Anopheles mosquito, causative organism is the plasmodium parasite. So infected female Anopheles mosquito, it carries the plasmodium parasite. Okay, mosquito. So basically there are some symptoms for every kind of disease. We know that some symptoms are there. So if we talk about malarial disease, the first symptom is that people feel very cold. बहुत ठंडा लगता है मलेरिया में. It's chilling, shaking. People will be shaking and they will be chilling. Okay. So this malarial disease, it can be from moderate range to a very severe condition. It can go in a very severe condition. So the severity of this malaria, it varies. Okay, some person can be very little affected, some can be very severe. So this severity of malaria varies based on the species of plasmodium. Okay, which species of plasmodium is being carried by the infected mosquito? On that basis, the severity of malaria depends. Okay, so the severity, please remember this, that the severity of malaria depends on the, okay, so Plasmodium is a genus and it has got different species are there of Plasmodium. So on the type of species which is going to be carried out by these mosquito, on that basis the severity of malaria depends. So the severity of malaria depends on the basis of the species of Plasmodium. Species of Plasmodium. Fine. So now we will see the symptoms. This was all basics about the malaria. Malaria can even be life-threatening. Okay? People can die because of malaria fever. So now we will see the symptoms. Okay. So first thing is that very chilling, very high fever, shaking is there. Okay. There is a abundant sweating. The person who is having malarial fever will sweat. He is going to sweat abundantly. There can be headache, nausea feeling can be there, vomiting can be there, okay? And sometimes if it is very severe, there is an abdominal pain. People will feel the abdominal pain. And in critical conditions, people can suffer from diarrhea. What is diarrhea? We have discussed that in part 8 of the video. Okay? So if you want to learn about diarrhea, you can go in the part 8 video. So diarrhea is there, and if this malaria gets very severe, people get anemic. The anemic means their hemoglobin level gets down, their blood in the body is being lowered. Okay, there can be muscle pains, and even what happens sometimes, if the condition is very critical, people, the stool they pass out is bloody stools. Okay, blood is coming from the stool. That's why people become anemic. The hemoglobin count is being lowered. Okay, so symptoms are shaking, chill. Okay, in malaria the fever is very high fever. Fine. And there can be headache, vomiting, and even nausea, abdominal pain, people can be anemic, anemia can be there. Okay. And there is abundant sweating. The person who is, since the fever is very high, he will sweat. Lots of sweating can be there. Okay, and the muscles pain can be there. The body will pain a lot. Muscles pain will be there. And if the condition is very critical, so they can pass bloody stools. Okay, so bloody stool. Fine. So these are 10 basic symptoms which takes place in malaria. This malaria can be life threatening also. Okay, so shaking, chill, high fever, headache, vomiting, nausea, abdominal pain, anemia, abundant sweating, muscle pain, and bloody stool. Okay, so this was about malaria. Next we will see the brain fever, that is the Kala Azar. So that is also a protozoan disease. Kala-azar is also a protozoan disease. Okay. So the second type of protozoan disease is a Kala-azar. It is also called brain fever. Okay, so why it is being called as brain fever? Do you have any idea? Can anybody tell me why it is a brain fever? So, because the fever is so high that it gets on the brain. Okay, so this is also a protozoan disease. Protozoa leishmania is there. Protozoan leishmania. Fine. So it is being carried out by sandfly. Who is the carrier here? Carrier is the sandfly. Sandfly carries this Kala-azar, or you can say the brain fever disease. So the carrier we can say is a sandfly. So what happens in this Kala-azar? What happens? In which a parasite migrates. This parasite, it is going to migrate into the internal organs. Okay, even in the internal organs of the body, like the liver can be there, spleen can be there. Okay, and even the bone marrow. That's why this leishmania is also called as visceral leishmania, because it is going in the internal organs like liver, spleen, bone marrow and all. Okay, so if this is left untreated, it always results in the death of the host. Okay, it is going to result in the death of the host, because the internal organs like liver, spleen, bone marrow are being affected. So if it is not treated nicely, the people is going to die. It is life-threatening disease. So here also we will see the symptoms. What are the symptoms in Kala-azar or brain fever or visceral leishmania? So the symptoms are fever again. Here also fever, a person will have fever. Sometimes, student, I would like to tell you that in this fever is so dangerous, brain fever, that sometimes few people experience no symptoms. No symptoms are there and they are suffering from this. So there is a fever, there is a weight loss. Person loses their weight, swelling is there, swelling of spleen and liver, because this Kala-azar, this leishmania, it affects the inner organ like liver, spleen, bone marrow and all. So there is a swelling in that, it swells. Okay, so symptoms is a fever. Fine. Weight loss is there. People who is suffering from this, they are going to lose their weight. Lots of weight is lost. And there is a swelling of spleen or liver. Fine. So this is the symptom: fever, weight loss, swelling of spleen or liver. So we have seen two protozoan diseases, that is malaria and Kala-azar, which is also called brain fever. Now we will see some of the viral disease that is being caused by virus, whose positive organism is a virus. So now we will see the virus diseases. Okay, in the virus disease, first we will discuss about dengue one. Okay, so dengue, the carrier is what? The pathogen is, pathogen is virus. Okay, pathogen is virus Which virus is that? It's a dengue virus. Okay? Commonly called as dengue virus. And who is the carrier? The carrier is Aedes mosquito. It is also being infected. Dengue is also being occurred by a mosquito, that is the Aedes mosquito. Okay? So carrier is Aedes mosquito. Fine? Aedes mosquito carries this dengue disease. Fine? Now dengue is also called as breath-borne fever. Okay? Other name is breath-borne fever. So why dengue is called as breath-borne fever? Do you have any idea? This is because the person who has been infected with dengue, they are going to have lots of pain in their body, in the joints, in their bones. That's why it is called breath-borne fever, because it is going to break the body totally. Okay? Even the bones also. Lots of pain, lots of weakness is there. So that's why it is called as breath-borne fever. Okay? So one thing to remember is that those who have become infected with dengue once. Okay? Suppose somebody is infected with dengue once. Now this virus, when it is going to attack the second time. Okay? एक बार dengue हो गया, second time again dengue हो रहा है. So what is going to happen when somebody is going to suffer from dengue second time? It is very risky. Okay? So that time it is significantly greater risk of developing severe disease. Okay? Because just dengue, if it is once it happens, once in a life, it is said that if dengue just is very, it makes you weak for your lifetime. And you can think now, if it is going to occur 2 times, how much weak you are going to be. So those who become infected with this dengue virus second time are at a significantly greater risk of developing severe disease. Okay? So there are some symptoms of dengue. We will see that. Okay? So if we talk about the symptoms, the first thing is that fever is very high in case of dengue. Okay? So high fever. Secondly, there is a headache. Okay? Person is going to have some headache. And one thing mostly is being seen in dengue, that you will get some red rashes at your body. Some kind of rashes is there near the chest and all. So that is a very good symptom that is going to tell you that you are going to suffer from dengue. Okay? So rashes are there. There is a huge muscle and joint pain. In dengue, the pain is very unbearable types of pain is there. Okay? So muscle and joint pain. Okay? So in severe cases, there is a serious bleeding. Okay? If some person is in a severe case of dengue, when the fever has been very high, about 105 degree or 106 degree, then there can be sometimes a serious bleeding also can occur, and there can be a shock and people can die. So it is very life-threatening disease. Okay? So fifth is that severe bleeding, you can say, but it is that serious bleeding is when there is a severe disease. Serious bleeding and shock. So how can we prevent ourselves from dengue? The first thing is that we should always use mosquito net when we sleep so that these mosquitoes they don't bite us. The house windows should be covered with a proper net should be there so that these mosquitoes they do not come in your house. And the water segment, the water lagging where the water is collected, that should not be there in our house nor besides our house, in our society, in our environment. Okay, so like this we can save ourselves from dengue virus. So see, we have seen that dengue, the pathogen is virus, carrier is Aedes mosquito, other name it is black bone fever because it gives a lot of muscles and joints pain, high fever, headache, rashes, muscle joint pain, serious bleeding and shock. These are the symptoms of dengue virus. Okay, so next we will see some more diseases that are going to occur by virus. Okay, so some virus disease we will see. So swine flu is there. Okay, so we know that the virus is the pathogen. Pathogen is virus. Now, what is the carrier? Swine flu, the carriers are the pigs and human beings even. Okay, so carriers are pig and human beings. Okay, so these are the carriers of swine flu. In swine flu, the symptom is again fever. Fever spreads everywhere. Swine flu, it's come. So when swine flu is there, people get affected. Nearby people also gets affected. Okay, so in symptoms, the main symptom is a fever. Fine. So one is a swine flu and the other flu is a bird flu. Bird flu. So this bird flu, again the pathogen is virus. We are discussing about virus diseases, so pathogen is virus. This bird flu, the carrier is what? As the name suggests, the carrier is a bird. Carrier are the birds. Okay, birds are the carrier. That's why when bird flu is there, we are being asked not to eat non-veg and all meat of birds because we can get a chance to be infected by flu. Okay, so again in the bird flu, fever spreads. Symptom is a high fever. Okay, and these are some, we will not go in detail. Malaria we have seen in the detail in the pathogens. And in the virus we have seen dengue, hepatitis also we will see in detail. Rest all we will see only the intro we have. Then comes one more virus that is called Ebola disease. Okay, so Ebola virus is the pathogen. Pathogen is what? Ebola virus. Okay. And in this virus, what is happening? Fever is there, eye gets bulgy, it is some blurriness is there. So we have seen swine flu, bird flu and Ebola. Next we will discuss on hepatitis. hepatitis A, hepatitis B, there are some kinds of hepatitis. Okay, so if we talk about its carrier, firstly we will see the causative organism. So the causative organism of hepatitis is hepatitis virus, A or G. Okay, so causative organism is the hepatitis virus. Fine. So it is being, how hepatitis is being transferred. Yeah, you can say what is the mode of transmission. So again, if you will go in the part 8 of my video, you will see that we have discussed a lot of diseases like typhoid and all, which are being carried out, which are being transmitted because of contaminated food and water. Okay, so this hepatitis, it is also being transmitted, or you can say the mode of transmission is the contaminated food and water in some forms. It can be in any form, through body fluid or for others. Okay, so if we talk about the mode of transmission, so contaminated food and water, okay, so this contaminated food and water for some body fluids, for others. And how can we get rid of it? For hepatitis, nowadays vaccine is available. The infants, the kids are given those vaccines. Vaccination is being done. For hepatitis, vaccine is available. Rest, the antiviral injection is there. And for hepatitis, what we have to do, we have to eat food that is rich in carbohydrate. Okay, so control is prevention, or control you can say. Prevention is carbohydrate rich diet, and there is also hepatitis vaccine. Okay, so it is very easily available. Nowadays the injection of hepatitis is being given to children. Okay, so now how can we control? What are the measures through which we can control the disease? So for being not infected with hepatitis, the first thing is that the sanitation should be very good. Okay, good sanitation, and the water that we are drinking should be safe. It should be either chlorinated, or it should be boiled and then we drink. Okay, so safe water we should drink. Good sanitation should be there, and we should always use tested blood. Okay, not like blindly. We should not take anybody's blood who is being suffering from hepatitis or some other disease. And disposable needles and syringe should be used. Okay, it is not that if somebody is being injected with a needle and same needle should be used. So control is there. The first very thing is about good sanitation, and for hepatitis water also matters. So safe water for drinking. Okay, safe water for drinking. How can we use safe water for drinking? We either use boiled water or chlorinated water. And next, disposable syringe and needles should be used. Disposable needles and tested blood. Tested blood should be used for transfusion. If you want blood transfusion, then tested blood should be used. So we have seen hepatitis. Hepatitis can be hepatitis A, B, C, any. And the causative organism is a hepatitis virus. Mode of transmission is the contaminated food and water. And prevention is that nowadays vaccine is available and we should always eat carbohydrate rich diet. Control is there, good sanitation should be there, safe drinking water, disposable needles and tested blood should be there. Okay, so one virus disease is AIDS that we have already discussed. If we will go in my previous videos, you will see that we have in detail we have discussed about AIDS. Next, we will see about rabies. Rabies is also, the pathogen for rabies is also virus. Okay. So next we will see rabies. This rabies is a pathogen is rabies virus. Pathogen is rabies virus. Okay. So it is also a virus disease. The pathogen is a rabies virus. What is the organism? What is the mode of transmission or carrier? So, if any animal can be a mode of transmission if it bites you. Mostly this rabies disease is seen in dogs. Okay, dog and dog families, they occur with rabies. That's why these dogs, they are given the vaccination. Not the street dogs, but the one that we have as a pet in our home. Every year the rabies vaccination is being given. Okay, because if our dog is going to suffer from rabies and if he bites you, you are also going to suffer from rabies. Okay, so the carrier is the animals, bite of impacted animal. This animal is mostly dog. Okay, mostly dog. Whereas rabies can be in other animals also. So bite of impacted animal, mostly dogs are there. So this rabies disease, if it occurs once in a life, it can't be recovered. Okay, so no cure is there for this disease. If this disease develops, there is no cure. The person will die after some time. Okay, so cure if we talk or the prevention, there is no cure if it develops. The person has to die. The one who has been suffered from rabies, who is suffering from rabies disease, has to die. There is no cure. So basically in rabies, what happens? The person, if we see the symptoms, that person or a dog which has been, or any animal which has been affected by rabies virus, he will just want to bite everybody. Okay, and the main symptom is that he is having fear of water. If he will come near the water, he will just run away. So the one very important symptom of rabies is that, very common and very important, is that fear of water. Okay, the person or the animal who is going to have rabies will fear water. If you will bring water in front of him, he will run away. Okay? So how it can be controlled, or what is, so for control, if we are having pets at our home, they should be properly vaccinated. Okay? And if suppose somebody has been some animal has bitten, who is having rabies, so we should wash the wound wherever he has bite you with some anti-rabies serum. Okay, wash the wound with some anti-rabies serum. Fine. Second thing what you can do is that if you are having pets at your home, they should be properly vaccinated. Okay, pets should be properly vaccinated. Pets should be properly vaccinated, and if you suffer, suppose any dog that has been infected by rabies, he bites you, what you have to do, there are shots of vaccination in it, sorts of injection are there, so the course of vaccines should be completed. Okay, so proper course of vaccine should be completed. Course of vaccine shots, you can say. Okay, so this rabies is a very the first very symptom of rabies disease is a fear of water. It is being the pathogen is a rabies virus. The carrier are the animals who are being infected. If they are going to bite you, if once it occurs, there is no cure. But if an animal who is being infected by rabies has bite you, you have to do that. You have to take the vaccines, and there are particular shots of that. The full whole dose should be completed. If you take that, you can be cured from vaccine. Next, we will discuss about influenza. Okay? So influenza is also a viral disease. Influenza is commonly called as flu. It is also called as flu. So in this influenza, the pathogen is myxovirus. Okay, pathogen is a virus. Myxovirus. Fine. So the carriers are the cough and sneeze droplets. If somebody is coughing in the public place, and a droplet of the cough or sneeze will come and it will infect the persons beside them. Okay, so the carrier is, or the mode of transmission you can say, is the cough and sneeze droplets. Okay, the virus gets transmitted by the cough and sneeze in the crowded place. Is there? If there is, so it is going to be transmitted. Okay, so there is basically no cure. People are given, the bed rest are given, aspirin is a medicine that is given, and fluid is provided for relief. Fluid diet they should take. This influenza is nowadays being curable, means ki vaccine has been developed in the influenza. So people are given vaccine, kids and infants are given vaccine of influenza, it is having 3 doses, so they are given after the 45 days or something in the after their birth only. Okay, so we should always keep away from infected person, because if somebody is being infected with influenza, he will transmit the disease to us also. Okay, because influenza is an airborne disease, so we should keep away from a person who is infected. So this was about influenza. So this was, we have discussed about protozoan and virus disease. If you want to study about bacterial disease, please refer to my part 8 video. All the bacterial disease has been discussed there. Here we have discussed the pathogen and the virus diseases. Okay, so this was all for today. So the part 9 is being completed and even the chapter 13 has been completed. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching my video. Please give a like button. And if you have not subscribed our channel Always Squirrel yet, please do subscribe it, because we upload videos daily. So if you will subscribe it, you will get the notification whenever we upload video. So thank you.